Hey everyone, Habs here. I tried to film this in another room for you guys. There's not a lot of good natural lighting in here, mostly because I have this huge tapestry over the window. But the actual curtain I have on it is really thin, so I wanted something a little more that would block a little more. So I tried to do it on my tablet in the bedroom, where I have two windows and the natural light is great. But the video went completely bananas and I couldn't record another one. So I guess laptop it is. Still can't see, so I'll try not to squint too much. But I've gotten asked about my username, my spiritual name, whatever you want to call it, before Habbalah. And so I wanted to answer that question for those of you who are curious or were wondering. Uh, I usually get asked if it has anything to do with Kabbalah because the spelling is very similar, and it doesn't. It doesn't, to my knowledge, at least. Not that I've looked up. The only thing similar about them is that they both come from Jewish words. Habbalah, from what I can tell, means punishing or destroying. And in some of the Jewish scripture, like in the Book of Jubilees, you'll see the expression, and I'm going to apologize right away, I don't speak Hebrew, so I will probably just mangle the hell out of these words, but it's Melechai Habbalah, which means a destroying angel. So you would maybe think that's where my name came from, but not exactly. My spiritual path, as it is, started with communicating with angels, and I still do. Maybe that's not as strong of a focal point for me as it was before, but they're still very important to my path. And around the time that I started to really discover it was fall of 2011. And how I was exploring it was with a friend. And then I joined the Pagan Forum, which is paganforum.com, surprisingly enough. And when I signed up there, I needed a username. And I didn't want to use the same usernames that I use everywhere online. And I really didn't want to use my real name. So about that time, I was still part of a tabletop gaming group, and the GM, that's the game master if you're not a big nerd like me, had books in a game series called In Nomine. Now, In Nomine is Latin, and it literally means in the name of. If you've ever heard any of the Catholic masses, I don't know if any of them still do Latin. I imagine some do, but you'll hear in nomine Padre, for example, which means in the name of the Father. But what the actual game is about, there are opposing classes of angels and demons, and it's kind of their fight for humanity's soul, as it were. It has a lot to do with saving individual people. And one of the things I thought was cool was that besides the fact that angels can fall, demons can rise, and sometimes they actually kind of yo-yo, and each class of angel has a corresponding class of demon. So if you are this when you fall, you will become this if you rise again, and it's they coordinate, and then they're kind of the opposites of each other. So excuse me just one second. Alright, one of the classes of demons is called Habbalah, and their nickname is, my gosh, I'm sorry, it's my nose is so itchy. Sorry. They're called the Destroyers, or the Punishers, excuse me. And their deal is that they believe that they are the only real class of angels left. That they have not fallen. They are in hell to keep a better eye on demons. and that they are there to basically test weak angels and to pull them down. They are specially chosen by God, and that's why this has happened to them. So, and for that reason, Habbalah very rarely rise because they're so self-deluded. And I didn't pick this because I believe I'm self-deluded, at least. I'm definitely no angel. So, excuse me, my gosh. But when I was sitting there trying to think of a username, trying to think of, well, what should I call myself? What's important to me? I kept thinking of that over and over again. And that's what I ended up signing up with. And it just felt right. It fit for me. It's an unusual enough name for one to remember without being pretentious or just totally off the wall weird, which if that's what you have, that's fine, but that wasn't suiting me. I guess I'm only slightly weird. And I try not to be pretentious, but we all have our moments. So there is some confusion that comes up with it because of, like I said, the similarities to Kabbalah, and I know it's a pain. It's a pain to say. It's a bigger pain to spell, which is why in my intro I said just call me Habs. It's way easier. I'll call myself Habs. But as time has gone on, I've just become more comfortable with this name, and it seems to have fit me more. So I don't foresee changing it unless something radically different happens with my path, because it still calls back to where I started with angels. Excuse me. And generally, as I go about online and join new forums and sign up for stuff, I continue to use the name Habbalah because I've adopted it to the point that it's my name. I don't necessarily consider it a craft name, if you would. Sorry about that. But we all have different facets of our personality, and this one seems to fit the spiritual side of me. So I guess that's kind of a long rambling story to tell you that I'm a big dork and it came from a tabletop game, but that's the full story behind it. If you have any questions, absolutely feel free to ask. Leave in the comments. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next video. Have a great day.